Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Justin Gazub, and this is Living and Moving to Seattle, Washington. This is a channel that gives you all the nitty-gritty details on what it's like to relocate, move out here into the great Pacific Northwest. If you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button. Today, we're going to talk about South Lake Union, SLU, and the pros and cons of living in South Lake Union. So we're going to get right into it. We're a local real estate agent out here, or I'm a local real estate agent out here in Seattle, Washington. So reach out to me if you're thinking about making a move. Give us a call, shoot us a text, whatever you got to do to get in touch with us. We're helping people make that move all the time. And if you don't reach out, we can't help. We'd love to take great care of you and show you around and show you what we can do for you. So really appreciate that. Like I said, we're going to talk about South Lake Union. South Lake Union has become so renowned all over the tech world, all over, people that are living in New York, they know about South Lake Union. You're in Austin, Texas, you know about South Lake Union. You're in California, you know about South Lake Union. Everybody knows about South Lake Union, really for one major reason, is that Amazon had moved there few years ago, and really because of that they started to clean up the area. South Lake Union, or Lake Union itself, is one of the lakes here in Seattle, Washington, just east of the Puget Sound. Then you can take the Montlake Cut over into Lake Washington. They are connected, and so it is kind of this urban feel downtown area, but it is not downtown Seattle. Downtown Seattle is a different ball game. If you look at a map, you have South Lake Union, you have Belltown, and then you have downtown Seattle. But it is all very close in. It's very urban, lots of apartments and office buildings, and great access to the lake. Now, one of the things that a lot of people don't know about South Lake Union is it used to be a lot of warehouses. It used to be kind of this neighborhood that nobody went to. Mercer Street runs right across the lake. We used to call it, sometimes still do, call it the Mercer Mess, because traffic there is awful. I think they're up to 3 lanes in each direction over there with lots of arterial turns. It used to be a 1-lane road, so leaps and bounds. Lots of things have changed in the last decade or so, and South Lake Union has become really a desirable area because you get shops, restaurants, bars, breweries, all within walking distance. You have the South Lake Union Transit, which is our little trolley car, part of the light rail system that gets you in and around town down there, which makes it really convenient and really easy to live, plus all those apartment buildings, and then you have the offices. Everybody's office seems to be in South Lake Union. So Amazon, Tesla's, Disney, I think there's Microsoft offices, just tons and tons of offices down there in the tech world, and of course banking and tertiary companies as well. Like I mentioned, those sandwich shops, bars and breweries and stuff. So all of that stuff is right at your disposal. The REI is really close by there, a little bit closer to the highway. So it makes it really easy and convenient around that area to get around, to get into these different shops. It's super walkable. And again, you've got access to the lake. The one thing about Lake Union that I will, in the summertime, go down there, bring a blanket. Please bring a blanket. There is a lot of geese that frequent that lake, so bring a blanket that you don't mind getting a little dirty and you can wash up. So but South Lake Union, the Museum of History and Industry and the Wooden Boat Museum is right down there. It is a beautiful setting. On Tuesday nights here in the summer, they have a race they call Duck Dodge on the lake, where the sailboats get out and race, and there's a lot of people get out, take their boat and float out there in the summertime and watch that boat race, and a lot of folks participate in that race. If you decide that that's something you want to do, make sure to check in with race committee before you start that race, because they want to make sure they know who's on the water and participate in the race versus who's just out there getting in the way. So Duck Dodge is awesome. That's my little plug for sailing right there on South Lake Union, or on Lake Union. So South Lake Union is south of the lake. You have West Lake, which is on the west side of the lake, and East Lake flanking the east side of the lake, with I want to say Fremont is on the northern side of that. So down in South Lake Union, like we talked about, all those bars, restaurants, breweries, I guess, is there a brewery? Probably not a brewery down there. A lot of bars and restaurants and shops. The one thing that is probably the biggest caveat to living down there is if you're not into the hustle and bustle, it is like living in the city. The other thing to think about, although Seattle has been working to fight the homelessness crisis and help a lot of folks that are in our area get better services, there's still a lot of homeless folks in that area. And South Lake Union is one of those areas that's been inundated with homelessness, and that can, for a lot of folks, be a safety issue or just a sense of, feeling the cleanliness of the city, right? So there's still those issues. Whereas if you go into downtown, that 3rd Avenue is where we've seen, by that McDonald's is really where we see a lot of issues up and down that 3rd Avenue on the bus line. But South Lake Union, a little bit different, still suffers from some homelessness. Other than that, relatively safe area, easy to get around. If you live in town, you might consider not owning a car down there just because parking is at a premium and there is access to decent transit. But one of the big cons about Seattle is that it is very neighborhood centric, and you can feel very disconnected from other neighborhoods because of the transit system. Now, downtown in Westlake Center is that light rail transit, so you're able to jump on there and head north and south pretty quick. Even the ability to get to Capitol Hill and that nightlife over in Capitol Hill is about a 10-minute light rail ride. So if you're living in South Lake Union and you want to get to Capitol Hill for a night out, very, very easy to do, or vice versa. If you live in Capitol Hill but you're working downtown or you want to get down into South Lake Union for that. One of the other caveats that I share with people is that downtown core, that South Lake Union area, a lot of those bars and restaurants, sandwich shops, they are primarily there to serve the workers that are in those office buildings. So oftentimes they're going to be closed in the evening. Now there are a handful of bars, obviously, that are open later at night and easy to get into, but just know that your favorite lunch spot might not be open for dinner, right? So really quick, let's talk about cost of living. So down in South Lake Union, you're looking at a lot of condos and apartments. The median home price right now, we're filming this video, it's mid-June, is about, it fluctuates a little bit, but about $530,000, right? Your average rents down there are going to be somewhere around $2,600 to $3,200 a month for a 2-bedroom unit. So you really are on the cusp of, it being way more affordable to own than it is to actually rent. And when you think about renting, people feel like maybe they have more flexibility. They're tied into that 1-year lease, and all that money just kind of goes away, right? You don't get any equity. It all goes away. And then the Seattle market has a tendency to appreciate at a relatively fast clip. So even if you think of the appreciation here in Seattle as being below the national average of 4% and just use a 3% appreciation rate, by renting, you're throwing away all that rent plus the opportunity cost of that appreciation, right? So that $2,600 a month rent all of a sudden becomes $4,500 a month when you look at the math that way. So just something to think about and give you some thoughts on what it looks like to rent versus own here in the area. What we found is that we work with a lot of folks who are relocating to the area, and one of the first things they want to do is jump into the rental market, get used to where they live and learn a little bit about the area a little bit better. But we find that in 3 to 6 months, they're like, hey, I'm done renting. Let's figure out how to buy. And we've got ways we can help you break that lease and even sometimes get the seller to help you do that. So something to think about. Some of the cons about living in the area just is that situation with parking, density if you don't like it, the homelessness, trash on the streets, that sort of thing. But man, the pros so much outweigh the cons, with beautiful views of the skyline, access to water, a decent transit to get in and up to Capitol Hill, or even because of that light rail system, you can get to the airport really easy. I mean, that makes it really, really convenient and easy. Even if you wanted to go to a UW football game, the light rail will take you right there from South Lake Union. So that Westlake Center transit stop. So really convenient and easy. All right, guys, so that's the pros and cons. Pros, realistically, beautiful views, water access, decent transit, super walkable, bars, restaurants, and shops, all right there, easily disposable. That transit, again, I mean, you're talking about 10 minutes to Capitol Hill, maybe 20 minutes to UW at the most, and 45 minutes down to the airport on that light rail system. It's one of the best neighborhoods that we have in Seattle with access to the light rail. Now again, that's in the Westlake Transit Center, so it's not right there in the heart of South Lake Union, but you got the South Lake Union Transit, the little motor car, the trolley car that can get you closer and easier access to the light rail station. So that makes it really convenient and easy. The cons, like we talked about, you know, is Seattle is working to clean up that homelessness situation, and that's really the worst of it. That's kind of the biggest con. Another con is it's not as car friendly as you would hope it would be, given that Seattle is still very much a car dependent area. Like if you wanted to get into Ballard and use public transportation, it'd be a little bit difficult, right? You'd have to jump on one of the express buses and take a city bus, and they're not the most efficient way to get into Ballard to go to that brewery district if you wanted to. So it's not super efficient in that way. So a lot of folks still feel like Seattle's very car dependent. South Lake Union neighborhood does make that a little bit difficult. Those apartment buildings down there, they do offer some parking. And if you do decide to buy a condo in the area, you'll want to make sure that if you're going to keep your car, maybe to get out into the mountains or go hiking or get out of town, that it does come with designated parking there, because parking on the street can be difficult. But that's really it, guys. Really appreciate you spending some time with me. Reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text. Whatever you got to do to get in touch, we'd be happy to go over your exact situation with you and see, kind of brainstorm what neighborhood's going to best fit your lifestyle and help you make that move happen. Really appreciate it. We'll see you in the next video. Talk to you.